discussed. I was on a panelist. Oh, I was a panelist, and the question was posed by actually a doctor. He asked actually the Connecticut Legal Rights Project, what's more intrusive, being locked up in a psych ward or being forced medication? What's your insight on that?
Ooh, that is like the ultimate like Batman movie question. If there was like I only could, for me personally, um, I would honestly say forced medication because that's happening in my internal body. That's an effect on my personal being. Where if I was just forced, locked away somewhere in a building, I'd still have full kind of control over my own body. I just wouldn't be. I'd be forced in an area where I guess if I was forced medication, you don't even know what side effects that could have. But that's
Right.
just my personal answer. What about you?
For me, I was a forced medication too. Because for one, if you didn't want to take your medication because it was harming you, and you're a physician or a doctor, they want to change that. How will they mandatory make you take your medication? Will they strap you down? Will they restrain you? Will they arrest you? So there's a lot of thought on my end goes into that.
Hmm. And that's a
Anthony, how
really
about
thought-provoking question.
Anthony for you?
That's a good point. Yeah, I think both are pretty extreme. And I think that it's an important thing to bring up because I think that the public doesn't see things that way. I think that the fear of others causes many people to think that forced medication is something that should be done a lot, keep everybody safe. But really what you're doing is something that's harmful to someone, and everyone should have the choice of what goes into their body. So it's a slippery slope, and it's very scary. The best thing that we could do is be more educated and more understanding and try to put ourselves in other people's shoes a little bit more than we probably do.
Right.
Yeah. That's good. So I think it's good that you bring it up, Heck. I think that we need to think about how we approach certain topics and how many certain topics we approach.
True.
And that's something we're going to have to figure out. You know, it's almost like with a business or something. You come up with your mission statements and your all of these other things that you put in writing that basically says this is what we believe, this is what we want to do. And I think what's interesting is that the three of us don't even know each other well enough yet to know what our answers are going to be to a lot of these things. So that's going to be something that we're going to have to work out, and whoever else we end up having on too. We want someone who's good. Like, I don't necessarily know. Now, I know enough about Michael to know that, to think anyway. I could be totally wrong, so don't take this the wrong way, Michael. But I think you're probably the type of person who can see both sides of a situation a little bit. And I think it's important with a show or something that goes out like this. It's like, I'm not bad-mouthing Michaela at all, but she is an advocate to her core. She would rather have a confrontation with someone other than as opposed to like letting something go and just saying, well, I was the bigger person or whatever. Like those of us who are non-confrontational have to tell ourselves when we walk away from something like that. So I think that's important if you're trying to build something like this. To me, and especially if we're doing this and we're all trying to at the same time build our contacts and connections and stuff.
Yeah.
So you end up burning bridges. I think it's really good TV and really good radio to always pick a side and argue it. But I think could be bad business. So we're going to have to work on that and think about what we can do, like what we want to touch, what we don't, how much of each thing we want to touch. Because I think what you just brought up is perfectly appropriate. But does the whole show become all of that, or does the show become just like we sprinkle that stuff in here and there?
If I can jump in, I would say we can weave it in and out. I mean, I think touching upon all aspects of life, to be quite honest, I think that's why people would want to watch this. So I think it's awesome we went there. And to your point, Anthony, I've really had to work hard on being that both sides of the fence guy. I wasn't always like that, and I do think I do avoid confrontation. Absolutely, I think in our DISC personality training, if that like the D is the dominant, the I is like influence. If I'm remembering that. S is supportive, C is cautious. I was very high supportive, like off the charts. I got almost nothing in dominant. So I'm someone who has to work on standing up, being like telling people what I need. So I do think I will always be that guy who tries to be accommodating and see both sides of the fence. And I do think that it's the route that will get you places, but it also, if things do need to change, it is great to have someone who can maybe help guide you to being honest with yourself. But I think as long as there is that balance, absolutely.
So I think that's a good place to start, because I'm not that way either. I'm a strong I. So I'm not necessarily I guess the problem though with that is if you're trying to influence people and excite people, that sometimes you try to take grab a root and use it as a means for doing that. Like, so you grab a topic and try to use it to influence people, to make your point, stuff like that. But I just know, like when we do the turtle podcast, there's a lot of like sad stuff related to like animals and how they're kept, or the fact that they're all going extinct and stuff like that. So when all these topics come up, it's very easy to fall into this thing where all of a sudden you realize for 45 minutes on a show you've been talking about how the world sucks and how we're killing everything, and and you just have to realize that's not fun. Like hit the message and then back off of it. And then go back into the fun banter and everything. Like a lot of good sports radio, they talk about everything. They'll talk about a popular movie for 20 minutes and go on a tangent. And they all come from that sports area, but they do a good job of kind of keeping it fresh and talking about a bunch of different stuff. So I think that's what I see as being really, we're all people who are very, very much involved with professional and life experience. That makes us a unique group, but that doesn't mean that's all we have to talk about. And I think that we should be careful about how we do it, especially early.
And that's a great point, too, is that I want to be seen as a complete person. It's kind of, we're talking about the whole labeling thing. Yes, I can be labeled as X, Y, Z, whatever professional diagnosis you would like, but I'm so much more than that, and I think we all are on the same page with that. So I think talking about everything in between, whether it's hot topics or just everyday casual things, that's what needs to happen, because I personally, like, to be honest with you, on my personal social media, I do not really talk about a lot of mental health or wellness things. I am just Michael, myself, talking about whatever. So it's not that I don't want to say I remove the hat on and off. I think I always have the intentions for justice and so forth, but I think I think it's nice to have the separation of, it can be honestly in some ways exhausting to always be on the campaign trail or the front lines of everything, and no one is meant to be the one superhero with the cape always going constantly. And I think that's something I see a lot, is that we work with amazingly talented people, but if you don't have that boundary of when can I be Michael versus when do I have to be Michael the advocate.
Right. Boom. Yeah. Nailed it. I totally agree. This is good. Yeah. I'm very excited. Yeah. All right. So I'm confident. I'm trying to see if I could tell you about any of this stuff on the side over here. So
I have a question, Anthony.
Yeah.
How did Steve get the little titles?
Get the what?
The titles for the names.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. So you go into the toolbox. There's a left column when you go over it with your cursor, and there's a red toolbox that's like third or fourth from the bottom.
Second.
Do you have it?
Yeah, it's already opened.
Yeah, okay. So then you click the little one that looks like a little alien head in a circle, like all the way to the left.
Mm-hmm.
And then there you can kind of play with that. And what he's used is the custom upload, custom overlay. And so if I turn mine on, well, well, it won't let me. So if I go in and click custom overlay, I can put like anything that I have.
Right.
And I have mine saved on my desktop, and he actually made them. So if you want to try to make them, by all means, have a great time. But he made these bad boys.
Nice.
I don't know where the hell it is. Oh, there it is. So now that I've just clicked on it, if I hit on, now there's my thing. And it shows up backwards for me, but you guys can see it, I'm sure.
That's cool.
So it's really cool, and it makes the production look so much better. Now, Hector, I wouldn't know how to go about making one of those, but if you wanted to try, by all means, be my guest. So it's just transparent background with that stuff over it.
So you use a custom overlay?
That's what it's called there, where it says, you see where it says that, right?
Yeah.
It also says you can enter a tagline. What's that about?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to enter a tagline.
Well, I thought it was weird. Like, it says custom upload. That's kind of weird.
So can I be honest? Oh, well, that's cool.
Ah, we can do that. I just did that.
Nice.
That's where I did. So when you're in there, you do tagline.
Mm-hmm.
It says today the pond. I can't read it. Does it say that underneath?
Today the pond, tomorrow the world.
Yeah, it doesn't say world though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm embarrassed.
Pretty cool.
Okay, so here's a question for both of you. Who do you think has the best talk show, or maybe like internet, like any like celebrity? I mean, who do you admire? You can admire them because they're really wacky or actually bad, but they're funny because of that, or if you think they're actually really on point.
It's a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything, Heck?
Pimpin' Ain't Easy? Nothing as cool as that. But actually, no. I gotta say no.
To be honest, this is full disclosure. I have been watching Susie Orman, the financial guru, nonstop, and it's funny because I have two aunts who are financial advisors, and they, in some ways, don't agree with everything she says. But what I like about Susie is she's so peppy and like perky and spunky. She's just. I watch her just to sometimes her to ream into people because she has a segment on her show called Can I Afford It? So basically, everyday people call her up and they give her like copies of their complete finances and they'll ask for like what they want to buy. And like 80% of the time, people like truly are being ridiculous. Like they'll be like, Susie, I'm unemployed. I have $50,000 in credit card debt. You know, I am 6 months behind on rent. Can I afford like a new Maserati car? Like, and then Susie always, she has these like mannerisms that are very like fun. She's like, girlfriend, you cannot afford it. I don't care if you work 3 jobs and you have tears running down your face. You are denied. Like, she gets really like into it, and so like you can look her up on YouTube. I think she's. It's just interesting, and I think something I've become really passionate about, honestly, is finances, because I am not really good with my own money, and I think I've had to really learn how to properly use it, control it, and create it, just so that I can either donate some, give some away to those in need, and also to feel in control. And I think I can speak for all of us as young adults and people who have experienced we need to feel in control. And I think having control of our own money is something that I'm really passionate about, and I am surprised to even vocalize that because I've always been spend, spend, spend. I deserve it. You know, if I want something, I'll go grab it. But I think I'm really seeing the value in knowing how much you earn, knowing if you have a credit card, what's the interest rate, and all this stuff kind of sounds really boring and stupid. And I admit, like a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have cared. But being that shifting age, that as I get closer to 30, it kind of just really hit me like this is, you know, my life. This is what I make of it. And so I think it's disheartening to see young adults not knowing about money and how to just just how to create it, and it's just those basic things that can really hurt you if you don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. How do you spell her last name? Can you write it in the chat box? Yeah.
And by no means, she's not the only advisor, and I mean, everyone has different styles. She's actually famous because of Oprah. Who else? So Oprah had her on the show, her show like years and years ago, but you know, there's another guy is Dave Ramsey. He, I guess, where I'd say his difference is Dave Ramsey is very much anti-debt. Like you should pay off your credit cards and pay for everything with like cash and like the envelope system. Where Susie is really concerned with her FICO score. Now the FICO score is your credit rating, which can affect the amount you pay for like a car loan, a housing mortgage, etc. And she kind of walks you through from that angle of the fence on do what you can to boost your FICO score, where Dave Ramsey is like, oh no, I don't want you to have like any debt. You need to pay that down and focus on cash. So, but yeah, they're interesting reads, and I think that's something as part of like the dimensions of wellness from like Sam said, that financial piece, no one wants to ever confront the financial piece. I don't think I've ever heard any of my friends, like it's just kind of taboo in America. I don't think we talk about money except how much, like they'll be like, hey man, how much you pay for that over there? You know, I think we never get beyond what things actually cost, not what are we doing to protect yourself and your family in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah. Sorry I got off on a tangent there.
Please do.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is telling. I'll enter it right now. Dan Le Batard is probably my favorite right now. And the reason is because I think they're very good at making fun of each other and doing it in a way that kind of rolls right off. But it's very. So there's this one show. Oh, what the heck's his name? Rob Dibble, I think, is a sport. I listen to a lot of sports radio, but I listen to other stuff as well. I listen to like NPR and stuff like that. I usually just am drawn to anyone who's intelligent, but this guy Rob Dibble.
Not then, Anthony.
No, I am. I'm the type of person I really, if I wasn't in debt, I would be back at school just because I love listening to smart people talk, and I just miss having professors in my life. But this guy Rob Dibble really is atrocious, and it's because he surrounded himself on his show with like interns and wannabes who are too scared of him, so they don't make fun of him. And he doesn't really know a ton, which is fine. It's okay to not know a ton about a subject. It's okay to just give your opinion and say it's opinion. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be less informed, and that's something that's important, I think, going into this stuff too. I would get nervous when I was doing my Turtle podcast that like somebody was going to, like some expert was going to be listening and just basically saying you're an idiot to everything I said. So you have to put that bit of humor in there so that you can get more comfortable and have a good time. You worry that you're, you know, and that's, the Le Batard show is like that. The guy's very, very, very intelligent, but the people on the show all make fun of each other so much, but it's not. So, Hector, you know when you joke around with Carlos, if you're making fun of Carlos, he takes offense to it, and it becomes this whole thing where it's like, what? Like, oh my gosh, like, what are you talking about? No, I didn't. Like, and then it's like, okay, we don't have to go through this whole thing again. And it's not like that, and that's what's great about it. It's like, you know, you're an idiot, and it's like, oh, yeah, I know I am. Next thing, you know, next joke, or just keep the chain moving. So I think that's important too. I think that being smart people, which I think we are, famous last words, but not taking yourself too seriously and feeling like you have to sound like an expert.
Right.
I think that that's a good approach too. So
Absolutely.
Don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun, and if we really want to have expert opinions, then we invite them as guests and we ask them about what they do and let them be the experts.
Yeah.
And then we make fun of ourselves for knowing less than them.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I'm all for Low Expectations. That should be my name in my TV show, Low Expectations with Michael, because it's so much more fun. Like, if you don't expect a lot, then hey, anything I deliver will be amazing. And I don't say that seriously about this. That's actually a name. It was actually on Mad TV. I think I saw that Low Expectations, like the dating show parody. It was interesting. But I do also agree. Again, both sides of the fence. I do think I'm getting better at that, but I do occasionally have my like inner hood diva come out, where like someone says something, and I'm like, it's Sasha Fierce of
Good, I want to see that.
Yeah, I can't like fake it for you guys. It has to actually happen. So maybe you guys can just be really rude to me in person, and you'll hope she comes out. So
yeah, I don't want anyone to fake that for me.
So speaking about Mad TV, what's everybody's favorite skit? I like Spy vs. Spy.
By far, it's Oprah, Deborah Wilson, when she does Oprah.